The command chamber of Vale Station was designed to break spirits before battles even began. Its ceiling rose so high that darkness swallowed it completely, while jagged alloy walls reflected streams of violet holographic light. Tactical maps floated in the air like ghostly constellations, constantly shifting, constantly alive. Around a massive obsidian table sat the supreme commanders of the Dominion Ascendancy, an empire feared across the galaxy. 46 star systems had already fallen beneath their fleets. Worlds stripped of resistance, cultures erased, histories rewritten. Today, a new name would be added to that list. At the center of the chamber stood Fleet Marshal Ken. Her ash-colored skin bore deep scars, each one carved by decades of relentless conquest. She wore them with pride. To her, scars were proof of superiority. She had never lost a campaign. Not once. Mercy was not a weakness she could afford. "Our next objective is insignificant," Ken said, her voice sharp and emotionless. A minor planet orbiting a yellow dwarf star, third in its system. With a flick of her clawed fingers, a hologram ignited above the table. A small blue and green sphere slowly rotated in silence. "Earth," she continued. "Its inhabitants refer to themselves as humans." The planet looked peaceful from above, soft clouds, wide oceans, fragile continents. An illusion. "They are underdeveloped," Ken said. "Their orbital defenses are outdated. Their command structures are divided. Their weapons are primitive by our standards." She paused, letting the words sink in. "They fight among themselves more than they cooperate." Low murmurs of approval spread through the chamber. Several commanders exchanged confident glances. This was not a war. It was an acquisition. War Master Draxon leaned forward, his armored form casting a long shadow across the table. "How large a force will be required?" Ken did not hesitate. 50 vessels. A ripple of agreement moved through the chamber. "This campaign will conclude within a single planetary cycle," she added. "Minimal resistance. Maximum efficiency." The decision was sealed. What none of them realized was that this small blue planet, dismissed as weak and divided, had survived extinction before, and humanity had learned something dangerous from it. The Dominion fleet emerged at the edge of Earth's solar system like a silent storm. 50 colossal warships slid out of hyperspace, their hulls black as void, their engines humming with restrained annihilation. Human instruments detected them seconds later. Panic followed. Satellites failed. Communication arrays overloaded. Governments scrambled for answers they did not have. Screens across the world filled with distorted images of alien vessels eclipsing the stars. For the first time in recorded history, humanity was no longer alone. Fleet Marshal Ken watched from the bridge of her flagship as Earth's defenses activated, slowly, clumsily, desperately. Missiles launched. Energy cannons fired. Signals crossed the planet in chaos. "Predictable," she said calmly. The Dominion responded with precision. Orbital platforms were disabled within minutes. Defense satellites vanished in silent bursts of light. Humanity's strongest weapons barely scratched Dominion shields. Cities watched helplessly as the sky changed color. Yet something unexpected happened. Despite the fear, humans did not surrender. Nations that had argued for centuries began sharing data. Military rivals coordinated strikes. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians worked together without waiting for permission. Ken observed the data with mild curiosity. "They adapt faster than projected," an officer reported. "Adaptation is irrelevant," Ken replied. "They lack unity." But on Earth, unity was being forged, not by politics but by survival. Underground bunkers became command centers. Old weapons were repurposed. New strategies formed overnight. Humans studied Dominion technology with obsessive speed. Losses were heavy. Entire cities burned. Millions perished. And still, humanity resisted. Ken frowned for the first time in decades. This was not fear. This was defiance. Weeks passed. The campaign was no longer clean. Dominion ships began to fall, damaged by improvised weapons, ambush tactics, and suicidal counterattacks that made no logical sense. Human pilots rammed vessels. Engineers overloaded reactors. Civilians refused evacuation to keep systems online. "They are irrational," a commander snapped. "No," Ken said slowly, watching the battlefield unfold. "They are emotional." And that made them unpredictable. Humanity began broadcasting messages, not pleas but warnings. Stories of loss, of sacrifice, of resistance. They reminded each other who they were. Ken ordered harsher measures. Entire regions were targeted. The skies burned brighter. But with every strike, human resolve hardened. The Dominion had conquered worlds that knelt. Earth did not kneel. Earth bled and fought harder. The final battle came not with a single decisive strike, but with exhaustion. The Dominion fleet was damaged, stretched thin, fighting an enemy that refused to break. Humans had learned, adapted, copied Dominion systems, turned weakness into weapons. Ken stood on the bridge as reports flooded in, losses, retreats, failures. For the first time in her life, doubt entered her mind. Earth was insignificant no longer. It was dangerous. When the retreat order was finally given, silence filled the chamber. 46 victories behind them, one failure ahead. Ken looked once more at the blue planet rotating on the screen. "Remember this world," she said quietly. "They survive." And across Earth, as the skies cleared, humanity looked up, not victorious, but alive. They had been underestimated, and the galaxy would remember the cost of that mistake.